is Christy-Faith. We are on Instagram. Hi, Instagram. Come and say hi if you're popping in. We're on TikTok right here. And of course, we're also on YouTube and Facebook. Anything else besides those four tonight?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, maybe X.
Oh, nice. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Come on into tonight's live. My name is Christy-Faith. I am author of this book. It's called Homeschool Rising. I have been in education for over 20 years, advising parents and teaching teachers. And now I spend my days encouraging homeschool mamas like you guys. I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. Hi, everybody on TikTok. Let me know in the comments if you are currently homeschooling. And if you are, how many years in are you? And secondly, I really want to know if you're homeschool curious. I get so many emails per day from mamas who are just thinking about this. Like, I'm homeschool curious. I don't know. I need more information. I want you to stay. And I am here tonight for the next hour to answer any questions you might have about keeping those babies home with you and giving them an incredible education. I had a pretty good day. I had a writing day today, homeschooled the kids, and also went on North Carolina's podcast. Can someone tag North Carolina for me tonight? Let them know that I'm live. I enjoyed being on their podcast today. I will be at their conference this coming spring in May. Are you guys coming to any homeschool conferences? I am doing 6 this spring. If you're curious where I'm coming, if I'm coming your way, you can check my website at christy-faith.com. I would love to meet you in person, although I'm warning you, I am a hugger. I want to make sure I am on all the platforms here. Instagram, can you give me a hi? I want to make sure you can hear me and that you see me. Well, yes.
Aaron Davis is on TikTok.
Hi, Aaron.
Abby Gibby.
Aaron, can I cry to you today? Who else? Who are my friends here?
Abby Gibby.
Oh,
on Facebook.
Hi, Abby. Abby, you're there. Hi. Welcome. These are mamas who are in Thrive.
Oh, there's audio problems on
Instagram?
Insta.
Audio problems on Instagram. Oh, no.
Oh, now they can hear you.
Now they're fine. Okay. All right. Well, just let us know if it cuts out, because let me tell you, this is quite the scenario. I wish I could show you. I could probably turn my phone around and show TikTok, but this is a situation. I will have you know. Should I show TikTok?
It's okay.
Should I turn this around real quick so you guys see the situation?
Abigail.
This is insane, right? Okay. Yes, Abby.
Abigail on Instagram says, no, this is a different one. Abigail
on
Instagram says, I am 5-ish years in, and it is a struggle every darn day.
Girl, are you in Thrive? This is Abigail. 5 years in. You guys, okay. So it's so funny because on the podcast that I was on today, I was sharing, because at that conference, I'm giving my talk on battles, pushback, resistance, lack of motivation. And I love that talk because I am for realsies here. Of all the topics that we spend coaching homeschool moms in Thrive Homeschool Community, I really do think, and homeschool moms in Thrive vouch for me here. Hi, Kimberly Baker. Okay, Kim, and the people here who are in Thrive, don't you think we spend a lot of time talking about behavior? Right? Okay, here's the thing. Do you want to hear my theory? Okay, here's my theory. Is that we were all raised in a more authoritarian model of parenting, right? And not only that, it was either probably authoritarian or permissive, was probably what we were raised in. Hands up. What are you? And someone just asked, what is Thrive? Could someone give her an answer? Okay, raise your hand here if you were raised authoritarian, meaning you were punished for your behaviors, the how dare you talk to me like that, and the go to your room until you're ready to behave, that, or permissive, like they didn't have the skills, and so they kind of just didn't parent you and you needed the boundaries. Okay, so here's the deal with us homeschool moms in our particular generation. We're like in this in-between generation where the pendulum has swung, but we're not always comfortable with everything, right? And there is a lot of misunderstandings, right, on this more like gentle parenting movement here. A lot of misunderstandings They get a lot right too. By the way, this should be my next book because I spend so much time obsessing over this stuff. Anyway, and so I think that because we don't want to be the behave or else and damage our relationship with our kids, we don't know what to do. And we want to homeschool and we want them to love learning. But what does that look like exactly? Well, here's the answer. And this is what we go through a lot in Thrive Homeschool Community. If you don't know what Thrive is, you can check it out. It's my online community. We have live Zooms. We have someone I don't know is trying to be on this live. No. Okay. And where was I? Oh, yeah. We spend so much time talking about behavior, but here's our answer, you guys. Here's our answer. There's over 50 years of research in child psychology that does tell us what our kids need, both academically and emotionally and in a healthy childhood. And so that's what we look to. That's what we need to look to when it comes to the everyday struggle. Raise your hand, whining, complaining, like battles every single day. And you're like, why is this a power struggle? Why do you think parents quit homeschooling when their kids hit junior high, which arguably are the most important years to be homeschooling? The older years when they're developing their worldview and they're more affected by peer orientation, which is a disorder, by the way. So anyway, I just want to encourage you, if you're struggling in your homeschool days, we are committed to helping you in Thrive. One of our mentors, Marnie, are you here tonight on one of these? Is a certified parenting coach. We also have Denise, whose kids are all graduated. She's our in-house grandma. And then you have me. We even have a Zoom every month just for kiddos who have special needs. I mean, come on, people. So if you are here on this live tonight and you're struggling, please check out Thrive. It might not be for you, but it probably is because we're freaking amazing in there. Yes. Do we have a question?
Abby says, permissive. Christy, yes, you're talking to me.
Oh, my Abby, this one? There was an Abigail.
Yeah, this is Abby.
Abby. Oh, I love Abby Gibby.
And then
okay, let me take a quick sip. Ask any of your homeschooling questions. Bring them on, girls. Bring it on, okay? There is nothing to... And if you're a naysayer and you're like, how are your kids going to be socialized? How are they going to get into college? Stick around. Stick around tonight. Please. Because you don't need to live in your ignorance any longer. Yes. Do we have a question?
Homeschooling 5 mama, total authoritarian. It took me into my mid-30s to heal from it.
Yes. And raise your hand if you feel really bad for your first child. I feel really bad. We're still healing from how we parented our first child. Whew.
Heather says, where do you get on Thrive?
Okay, so the way, and someone can maybe put the link in the chats here on all of the things. But you can go to my website, which is Christy-Faith.com. You can get there through my bios, and there is a page that explains everything that Thrive is, so you know what it is, right? It's very, very clear. You'll know within 30 seconds if, yes, I need this, or no, this isn't for me. And I mean, we got it all in there. We have master classes. Oh man, ladies, I've been booking our spring masterclass speakers. They're so good. They're going to be so good. And also I'm going to be doing this resistance pushback talk in Thrive if you can't make it to one of my conferences in person. So
Shannon says on TikTok, we
hi Shannon.
For several years, sent them back to public school for several years. And now we're about to pull them back to homeschool this week.
Oh, Shannon, can we give her hugs? Shannon, will you look at Thrive Homeschool Community? We have office hours tomorrow. What are our office hours tomorrow, lady? I think 1 p.m. is special needs. And, it's Working Moms Mastermind tomorrow night, right? Yeah, the 1 p.m. is Homeschooling Special Needs Zoom with me and Sarah Collins and Marnie. And then at night is Working Moms Mastermind. If you work, you got to join that. I love that,
well, and on
that group.
Note, Dahlia on Instagram says, I've heard of parents who homeschool their kids while having a full-time job. Do you know, can you talk about the ideas about what the kids do during the day while the parents are working? Yes,
I can because I do it every ding-dong day, girl. Are you kidding? Yeah, no, it's actually really possible. We have a Working Moms Mastermind in Thrive, and it's dedicated to moms who work not just side hustles. Like you have to be a vital part of your family's well-being. Like if you're where the financial responsibility is on you or partially on you. So here's the thing, is that it really depends on your particular situation and your support system, whether you can work and homeschool when you have littles. I would argue that if you don't have littles, you can absolutely do it. Because the thing is about homeschooling is, one, we all know this. It takes like less than half the time to finish the schoolwork that kids do in the school system, both public and private. So it's not a matter of the time. When you're homeschooling, you're not sitting there lecturing your kids in front of a whiteboard all day. That's not what homeschooling looks like for any of us. And so we really want to raise our kids to be independent learners, to be autodidacts, to be self-starters, to have those soft skills that are actually going to really help them later in life, decision-making, prioritizing. And so that's what we do, where our family of 4, we are all doing our thing, the things that we are supposed to be doing all day long. And yes, am I helping with certain kiddos? We have like appointments where I meet with this child, hold that child accountable, meet with this child, do lessons with her, and that type of thing. And you just have to really have it scheduled. And it would be really, really hard without childcare, if you had littles and a full-time job. And it also depends on what type of job you have. So mine is really flexible, and I choose my own hours, and I work nights and weekends. So that also frees me up during the mornings to be available for my kids to homeschool. But you would be amazed at how many of us are working and homeschooling and doing it successfully, I will say, and giving our kids a better education. And honestly, you would think, oh, that seems like such a sacrifice. I love it. I love being with my kids. Put a heart in the comments. Who loves being with their kids and hanging out with their kids, especially once you have the behavior stuff tamed a little? It's just a blast. Like, why would I even send them away? They're not going to get as good enough education. They're going to be in a toxic social environment. They're going to be age segregated. They're going to be not educated in the way that I want, which is like the soft skills and the emotional intelligence that I want, that actually the research shows is going to make them more successful in life. So I'm just, when they get older, you just kind of do the flow together, especially if you have a flexible job.
Yeah.
So if you're curious about homeschooling, I have a free 23-page How to Homeschool guide. It is for free for your download. Also, I have a fun little quiz on the 9 homeschooling styles, and that's really fun. If you're on this live tonight and you don't know what homeschool style you are, go and take my quiz and then come back and let me know. It's pretty accurate, I have heard. And yeah, so I'm sure we have a question. Your hand is up.
The Blush Life. First year homeschooling all of my 3 kids and ready to bump up to their next grade level. Any tips before I do that?
Repeat that.
It's first year homeschooling.
First year homeschooler.
3 kids.
3 kids.
And they're ready to bump up to their next grade level, I think, already.
Nice.
Mid-year.
Yeah,
Any
awesome.
tips before I do that?
Just do it. Yeah, just keep going with the flow. Whatever's working, keep going with it. I think that's pretty cool. Of course, you probably have that measurement on, we don't want our kids overworked. Our kids do need, studies show our kids need a lot of downtime, free time, outdoor play, nature time. They also need downtime of just reflection. And so we got to make sure they're not, when you're done schooling, they're not being shuffled to all sorts of organized sports here and there. So, but if they're doing well with what you are doing, just keep going with it. My kids are when someone asks them what grade they're in, they say what subject. We are all over the place with where we are.
Massey's over on YouTube.
Massey, hi.
Sister SMS says, in school they tell us we are not in school to socialize.
Yes.
But as soon as they are here homeschooling,
yes,
then they scream about socialization.
I know. Have you read chapter 7 in my book? I get after it, girl. On the chapter 7 is my chapter on socialization. It is like so dumb that people think for even a hot second that what happens in our public school system is healthy socialization. I mean, I'd like to say I have no words, but I had about 5,000 words, and it's in chapter 7.
You got a lot of hearts on that last soapbox.
I don't even remember that soapbox. Okay. Who even knows anymore, people? Who knows the soapbox? Let me take a sip of coffee. This live is sponsored this evening by CTC Math. I don't know if you guys have tried CTC Math. A lot of people are under the misconception that we are teaching every subject. And so that's why you get the objection like, oh, great, here we have stay-at-home moms who didn't have a college education teaching AP physics. And people think like, ha, I got her, right? It's like, we're not teaching that. Like we're sourcing people. How do you think we homeschool all the way? And not only are we sourcing, but we're sourcing world-class, amazing resources for our children to give them the best possible education that far surpasses any of the best public or private schools in the country. And so I just want to encourage you to, if you're on this live tonight and you're like, this is like so weird, what do you mean? You guys, homeschooling is about sourcing really, really well. It's managing your household. It's teaching your kids independence. That's one thing that I love about CTC Math. It does all of those things. So I will admit I am the first person to say that I don't really like teaching math. I can, but I don't like to teach math pretty much past third grade. And I don't, because I have CTC Math. We found them several years ago. We have stuck with them all the way through. Now, all 4 of our children are in CTC Math. It does all the teaching, grading, and testing for us, and without sacrificing any of the academic rigor that is really important to me for my kiddos, many of whom, out of the 4, not all of them, they can have the future that they want, but we believe in college preparedness. So this is a program that will get our kids all the way through. It's K through calculus. If you have not tried CTC Math, they offer a free trial. There's nothing to lose. You can literally try it out just for free. They even if you do end up signing up and say in a couple of months you end up not liking it, which you won't because they're kind of the GOAT, but if that ends up being the case, they'll give you a money back guarantee up to 12 months. Like, this is unheard of. The other cool thing about CTC Math is when you sign your kid up, you have access to all the grade levels. This is why it's a great program, whether you have a gifted learner, a typical learner, or a learner who needs extra help, because you have access to all the grade levels. In fact, just last week, one of my girls was stuck on something, so we skipped to the grade level before for that particular lesson, did that lesson, then bumped up to her grade level, and then she did fine. So it is really, other programs, you would have to buy a whole nother grade level, like spend hundreds of dollars on a whole nother grade level to be able to do that type of a thing. That's why it's a great full math curriculum and also a fantastic math tutor. So please go try CTC Math today. If you haven't tried the free trial, I really do believe from the bottom of my heart that it is the math program that you should be comparing all other math programs to. I haven't found anything like it on the market, and it's my favorite math program. So if you guys have tried CTC Math and like CTC Math, please put it in the comments.
JoJo's World, second year homeschooling. It's been a hard year with 2 close family members passing away.
Oh.
My husband also found he had some major health issues. We've done minimal science and history this year.
Yeah.
And I am stressed.
Okay. What platform?
She is on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. So I am so sorry about the deaths in your family. That is really hard. And I think that one of the things that is hard and messy is when we're going through hard times. Can someone share in the comments? I want her to know that she's not alone. If you also have homeschooled through profound loss, like this woman here tonight, I would like to know. I want her to know that she's not alone, that there are other people that have experienced her situation and maybe can encourage her and give her some virtual hugs. But yeah, this is what I want to say about that is I'm sure you're getting a lot of messages like, just put him in school right now so you can heal, or put him in school. And here's the thing is, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. Of course, I'm never going to do that. I do believe in that we have parental rights in this country and we can choose how we educate our kids. But I do want to say that navigating life's challenges with the ups and downs with our kids in a healthy way is giving them amazing tools for later in life on how to navigate. Because here's the thing is, as much as we can try, we cannot guarantee that our kids won't have rough things happen in their life. Loss exists, hard things happen. And so I feel like one opportunity in homeschooling is really teaching our kids how to get through and weather those storms. So one, I just want to give you a hug, and I want to talk about adjusting schooling during times of loss, because it may not be that you have a lot of things to do in the day, but that you are overcome with sadness, and that's valid. You need to embrace that. And you need to feel that, right? Because we all know from the therapy that we've been in, if we ignore those feelings, they're just going to come out in another way, right? So I want to say that if you just keep doing the basics with your kiddos, so what does that mean by basics? That means math, okay? It means literacy. It means communication. So I would say that includes English, grammar, writing. If you're covering those basics, then you don't have to worry necessarily about some of those other subjects or the electives. And dare I say, like up until high school, that includes, science and history. Here's the thing. If your kids have the math skills and the critical thinking skills that come from math, and they have the literacy skills, strong reading comprehension, great reading skills, so they have and then they have really strong math skills as well, they're going to be able to conquer all of those sciences. They're going to be able to read just fine and understand the history textbooks when you open those back up again. So I'm not saying not do those. Like, you can do them in fun ways. Put in the comments, ladies, ways that you would do it. YouTube, maybe if you have a YouTube channel that you like or something, put that in the comments to encourage this, mama. But I'm giving you permission right now that is okay, doing the minimum. And I'm not even going to say bare minimum, because we have seasons where we need to do more, let's call it core. We need to do more core schooling, and adjust, and that's perfectly fine. Did people give her hugs?
Yeah.
Okay,
and Sister
good.
Sim said, I've homeschooled through my own health and loss. Sometimes we need to pause
Mm-hmm.
and then make sure we're connecting with our families during hard times.
Yeah.
Homeschooling 5 Mama, my brother passed away our first year, and my mother had cancer. Homeschooling allowed us the necessary time to heal without being pressured to move on too fast.
Oh, I love that.
That's on IG.
That was on Instagram. Oh, those comments are so encouraging. You guys, life is hard, right? Like, there was a quote from C.S. Lewis that I said on the podcast today. These are my notes. Oh yeah, C.S. Lewis wrote, it was a warning, actually. Education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make man a more clever devil. You guys, educating our kids without cultivating the whole being isn't an education at all. And then another quote, oh man, I love this. I think I've used this quote in my book too. Okay, I'm going to say the quote and then I'm going to explain it. It's by Alan Bloom, the sociologist. He wrote, fathers and mothers have lost the idea that the highest aspiration they might have for their children is for them to be wise, as priests, prophets, and philosophers are wise. Specialized competence and success are all they can imagine. That's what our school system is boiled down to. Specialized competence and success. But that is not, how many people do you know that are brilliant people and know a lot, but aren't kind and aren't emotionally healthy? And that's not what we want. We want to rewrite that story for our kids, right? We want to be those cycle breakers. And we want to redeem their childhoods, and we want to raise happy, healthy, yes, well, academically educated kids with both the hard and soft skills so they can tackle anything that they want to in life. Because we can't possibly teach every possible item of thing before they turn 18. And even if we did, they'd forget it like they already do, right? We all know that. The big test on Friday, you forget everything by Monday, right? So,
the schools can't either.
What?
The schools can't teach it either.
Yeah, the schools can't. Nope.
Over on YouTube, I have 2 homeschool sons, both special needs. Some days are good, some bad, but then you get a boom moment and everything.
Oh, I love that. Where is she?
YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, mamas, if you have a kiddo with special needs, would you let us know in the comments? Tomorrow at 1 p.m., we have office hours for mamas homeschooling special needs. So if you feel like you need friends who are in the same boat with you, who understand what you're going through, and to have camaraderie and ideas and resources for homeschooling your kiddo that is maybe a out-of-the-box learner, please know that that is available for you in Thrive Homeschool Community. And we're going live tomorrow.
Elite Hair Design over on Instagram. Any tips on helping my kiddos become good writers?
Yeah, a good writing program. So here's the thing about writing is that it's a lot like art where, some people are born with a natural skill and some people aren't, but most people can become a good artist and most people can, and I would argue should, be competent writers. So we've made the mistake in our society of like having our kids do all this creative writing and not actually teaching them a structure for writing. And what's interesting about writing is that it's within that structure that they find the freedom. And there's actually been studies on this where like too much freedom is actually very constricting, right? So there are lots of great writing programs out there, but I would put your child through a writing program to teach them the basics and fundamentals of writing. And you probably have already. And then if it's a fit, keep going with it and get those fundamentals down.
Stacy Stanton on Instagram. Heading to book club, Christy.
Oh, yay. Yeah, tonight book club is meeting in Thrive Homeschool Community. Yay. Awesome. And Stacy's going to be hosting. Wait, did you leave already, Stacy? I think aren't we doing a favorite things party in Thrive? She may have already left because book club started, I see, at 7:00. Yeah. Or a bunko night. Massey, are you still there? Remember when we were in the same group in bunko night? Oh, that was like years ago. 2 years ago or something? I'll never forget that.
Yeah, okay, so we got Lulu and Ashley. I love nature poem books to calm our spirits.
Oh, nice. And I see on TikTok here, there is a teacher here. What are my thoughts on learning pods? Teacher here looking to leave. We used to run a pod. We ran a pod before they were called pods. And I think they're absolutely fantastic. And you could make quite a nice little business for yourself running a homeschool pod and being collaborative with the parents. The one advice that I would give you is teach subjects that parents don't want to teach. So for example, a lot of us, it would be art classes because we don't like our houses being messy, maybe science with science experiments. That's what I would recommend. I don't think necessarily you need to teach all the subjects, but you could have maybe some enrichment days that you're running. And I think that would be great. And you can even do it outside of your home.
Lisa
says,
do you have any tips or tricks on helping struggling readers?
Yes. So which platform? We have a struggling,
TikTok.
On TikTok, we have a struggling reader. So one, if I need to know the age. So we take literacy very seriously. There is some damaging advice out there on the internet and even in the homeschool space that's like, oh, just wait, it'll click. No, that's ignoring 70 years, second grade. Okay. That's ignoring 70 years of academic research on what kids need and how to, and on literacy. So early intervention is best, and some kids just need the code explicitly taught to them in a repetitive way. So with second grade, if they're behind on their reading, the first thing that I would have you, if you were in Thrive Homeschool Community, the first thing that I would be doing is making sure that you're in a program that is following the science of reading. So, and I know that a very popular term nowadays is OG or Orton Gillingham. And yes, that's part of the science of reading, but there actually is more to the science of reading than just that. Because every reading program now, if you go to their website, they're going to say they're OG or OG inspired. So it's almost, it means nothing now almost. So I would want to make sure that you're in a really good reading program. And then if you're curious about homeschool curriculum picks that I like, get my download, you guys. I have a download that is all of my favorite curriculum options, and they are all reputable on that list, and it's a free download, and you can grab that right now. Just whatever platform you're on, just click on my face and get that download. And then in terms of the literacy, and if you were in a program that was solid and I knew was solid, then, and your child was still behind, then I would be recommending an evaluation. So, yeah. Shout outs. What is that?
Kayla. Kendra.
Where's Kayla?
TikTok. Kimberly Baker.
Okay. Kimberly Baker. Kendra. Kayla.
Erin Davis was here, but she went to book club.
Okay, Erin Davis went to book club. That's totally fine. I don't feel rejected at all. Book club is awesome.
And Purple Switch. I see you on Instagram.
Purple Switch! Jen. Hi. Is she being quiet over there?
No, she's saying things.
Okay. Are you getting yourself into trouble?
No.
She can be mouthy sometimes.
Christy Rose 7 on Instagram. What are your thoughts on hybrid homeschool programs? There are a few in my hometown, and I've been looking into homeschooling myself versus this option. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that it really depends on there's terms for everything now, and you really don't know what they actually are unless you look. So there's collaborative programs, there's co-ops, there's the hybrids, there's all sorts of things now. So it really just depends on what it's offering and if that is a fit for you. I think they're great. I think that we've been involved in all sorts of different co-ops. Even one year we did a drop-off program where my kids did electives all day, like science experiments, calligraphy, yearbook, that type of thing. And they loved it. So it really just depends. And just remember with these decisions that you're making with curriculum and for next year and the co-ops and programs, and you're pressured with all these deadlines. I just want to remind you that no decision has to be forever. Like even if you're debating homeschooling or not, it doesn't mean that you're committing to homeschooling through 12th grade. You can just try it out. You can always put your kids back in school. No decision needs to be forever. And I can pretty much tell you that unless you're actively trying to be a negligent parent, they're not going to be worse for the wear. It's not like you're going to put them back in school and then they'll be totally behind. So I just want to encourage you to not freak out about these decisions. They're not forever decisions. You can change your mind on things. Different things work for different seasons. Curriculum works in it this season. The same curriculum may not work in another. Same with a co-op. You know, you could be in the same co-op for years and then all of a sudden the friend landscape changes and you're like, this is a little toxic. I don't want my girls around this cliquey group anymore. And then the co-op may not be a fit for you anymore, and that's okay. So, you know, I think that we tend to put so much pressure on ourselves to make the right decision. And I think the point here is make a decision and then work to make it right and then pivot if it's not working, because there's no way to like really read the future, right? So I hope that makes sense and relaxes, because this is a time where marketing is coming at us hard. All the curriculum sales are coming and it's pressure, like deadline, sale ends tomorrow, and you feel all this pressure. And there was like one program where they're like, sign up now or else. And I'm just like, I'm not playing your game. Like, if you're not available in 3 weeks, I'm just not going to do it because, I wasn't in for the game that day. So, and everything is going to be just fine. There are so many options out there that you can pivot. And if you need any help choosing curriculum, that's a big thing that we do in Thrive all spring long, is we're helping moms make curriculum decisions. So speaking of curriculum, should we talk about our second sponsor, or let's go to a question and then sponsor?
Just a couple real quick.
Okay.
Again, former teacher here, started homeschooling 2 years ago. It's the best thing we've done.
Aw.
Wish we would have started sooner.
I know, Megan. What platform?
TikTok.
Oh, awesome. Megan said that she is a teacher, started homeschooling 2 years ago. Best decision she's ever made. That's how I feel about it too, Megan. Yeah.
Did you?
Oh. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the sweet comments. Oh my goodness. Yay. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Okay, so I want to take a moment to talk about another sponsor of this particular live. As you know, that the reason why I'm able to come on here and answer your guys' questions and give you guys solid advising on your homeschools is because it's sponsors that make this possible. And tonight's sponsor is BJU Press Homeschool Curriculum. We absolutely love BJU Press Homeschool Curriculum. Now, a lot of people think of BJU Press Homeschool as an all-in-one option, meaning you have to buy an entire grade level or not. And it's not that way at all. We use BJU Press Homeschool for certain subjects, and we absolutely love it. We're able to seamlessly incorporate it into our homeschools. And what is so cool about BJU Press Homeschool is that it is really structured and written in a way where it's easily adaptable. So, for example, I can go several days without checking my son's work, and he knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and I can hold him accountable. I try to hold him accountable every day, but he's now a teenager, and schedules and practices and things like that, so we can't always do that. But because of the structure of BJU Press Homeschool, I can do that, and he knows what he's supposed to be doing. It's helped him become an independent learner. My girls love it. They focus on critical thinking. They focus on hands-on learning, and they absolutely love it. So if you haven't tried BJU Press Homeschool, I highly recommend that you give it a shot. And you guys know that it's kind of known for being more traditional in the style, you know, those 9 pedagogies, Charlotte Mason, classical, traditional, unit study, interest-led. It's kind of known as being in that traditional lane. But you know what? I'm a classical Charlotte Mason girly, and this curriculum has helped me be more of that. It's so easy to adapt. So, for example, one thing that we do is with my girls, we do family together science. And when it comes time for the test, we just talk through the test. We have a really great engaging discussion together. So we're doing that Socratic questioning, dialectic reasoning, and it's been absolutely fantastic for our family, and we love it. So if you have not tried BJU Press Homeschool, I highly recommend that you put it on the short list for your curriculum shopping this spring. And it is from a biblical worldview, so keep that in mind as you are perusing your curriculum options.
Cool. Abigail Bullard.
Abigail.
On Instagram, does Christy's List have homeschool-friendly evaluators?
So yeah, are there some so she's asking about Christy-Faith's list, which is my list of homeschool-friendly service providers nationwide. And I don't know, I haven't looked on there lately if there's evaluators on there.
They might need to be in her state. I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Email us if you take a look, and email us if nothing comes up. But what's kind of nice about that website is if nothing does come up, it triggers a search for you. So definitely go on there and search for it. Please, because if there isn't anyone in your area, it triggers a search, and we reach out to people in your area and try to find them. So we would love to be able to find people in your area that are homeschool friendly. I know I have been in doctor's offices where I have felt incredibly uncomfortable and threatened, and it's unacceptable, honestly. It's an abuse of the power differential, and it's unacceptable. People don't realize that homeschoolers, especially in the medical fields, are really discriminated against. And it's unacceptable in my opinion, which is why I started Christy-Faith's List to find service providers in all sorts of fields, not just medical, but also like reading specialists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, pediatricians, all sorts of fields that have made a promise that they do support your educational choice for your kids, and they won't threaten you in any way. Sometimes walking into a doctor's office can feel like an ambush, and we don't need more of that, right? Anybody on here have been in a very uncomfortable situation in a doctor's office or a service provider, and you're like, wait a minute, this is not, I don't feel safe here. Like they're questioning my parenting because of my homeschooling choice. I have right at the local children's ER. I was pissed. Let me tell you. Yes.
Switch says, I love logging on and seeing you all live. Always learning. Just want to meet for coffee.
Are you coming to one of the conferences, Jen? Can you? I don't know how far I am. I know, I just want coffee too. We could, we're going to do that craft night in Thrive, and we can just sit, and my hobby can be drinking coffee, and I'll just look at everybody else's craft and be amazed at what everybody loves to do. We have knitters, we have crocheters, scrapbookers. We have just ladies with really cool hobbies. Mine is coffee drinking. And right now, the show Lost. We're binge watching the show with my teenage son because Avi, every teenager, it's the rite of passage to watch the show Lost. Well, anyway, last night it was so action-packed that I was up all night tossing and turning with vivid dreams. Because I'm the type of person where I can't watch horror movies or anything because I start having scary dreams. And so, I'm in this position where my son is loving it. I'm loving Lost, but I'm starting to lose sleep because my dreams are just so like chasing in the jungle dreams. You were fine. I heard you snoring. I was up listening to you snore.
Well, Chelsea asks, do you have an opinion on Brain Quest curriculum?
I don't know Brain Quest. I have no idea about Brain Quest. Anybody? I'd love to hear your guys' opinion.
Somebody asks, do you help with developmental delayed children?
Yes, we do. Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
Oh, no. Who is it? Who's in trouble?
Nothing.
Did we get a troll?
No. Bespoke. I am from Wales, UK. Oldest 6 years old, ADHD, struggles with sitting and concentrating.
Yeah.
Good at maths, but tracking letters and numbers he struggles with.
Yes. Okay. So a couple things is when we are with the tracking, I would get an eye evaluation. So I'm kind of a believer where check the hardware before the software, right? Because, for example, let me give an example. When you have a kid that has reading issues and you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars on an Orton Gillingham tutor, right? And then you realize at the end of the day that it was like they just needed vision therapy. We don't want to be in that position. So I'm a huge believer, and let's just make sure the hardware checks out, meaning the eyes, the tracking, and all of that. You can get an evaluation at an ophthalmologist or a pediatric optometrist, and then make sure everything is good there. If you need interventions on that front, do that first, because that could be affecting why the literacy isn't clicking. And so then after that, if you have your kiddo in a really solid science of reading based reading curriculum and this reading still is not coming along, then I would recommend an evaluation by a reading specialist who knows what he or she is doing, and not everyone does. So that's what I would recommend.
Chelsea on TikTok asks, Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
You're asking for it here, Chelsea. What do you think about public schools saying your homeschooled child is behind?
Yeah. So we don't care what they think. So here's the deal is we have all these state standards. I used to be a teacher. Not only was I held accountable for state standards, but the private school that I taught also had its own set of standards. And it was just, the amount of information that I had to just give these kids was obscene, and it was ridiculous, and it wasn't fun. So here's the thing about a public school saying your child is behind. So what matters with behind to me is literacy. Honestly, literacy and math. Those are two areas that we really don't want to be behind, that we want early intervention and to take care of that. Okay. So, but in terms of other subjects, I want you to buy my book if you haven't already. The second to the last chapter is a chapter on deschooling, and it explains that the reason why society doesn't really get us is because our priorities are different, right? Like if I had the option of teaching my kid emotional regulation or the water cycle, it's going to be emotional regulation. Like that is a skill that's going to help my child more in life than memorizing the water cycle really quick just to forget it. Now, I'm not downplaying knowledge. We do need knowledge, but An education is not regurgitation. An education is the development of a human being and all aspects of that human being, both the mind, body, spirit. So our education when we homeschool looks a lot different, right? And we often joke like, our kids may not be able to stand in a line, but they can, argue using advanced logic and rhetoric, right? And this is what they're just never going to get it. They're never going to get it. And then they're going to think, they're going to look at your kid and quiz them on a question, and they only quiz the homeschool kids on the questions, right? They're never going to quiz a public school kid on their times tables. But sure enough, they're going to ask the homeschool kid at the checkout counter at the grocery store what they know. And then they'll be like, oh, they're behind. It's like, no. So a lot of people in the homeschool space will answer like, behind what? Behind, there is no behind. I don't agree with that. I think there is a behind. I think that your child can be behind on literacy, and that is concerning if they are. So I do believe that there are areas that kids can be behind. I think kids in public school are way behind socially. I think they're way behind emotionally. And so we can play this both ways, So I just think getting off that hamster wheel, this is why I kind of like I can go head to head with anybody. My keynote is titled "Why Kids Deserve More Than Industrialized Schooling." So I go on for an hour on this stuff in my keynote, but like in real life, and I do that mainly to inspire moms so that they realize, no, I'm choosing something different on purpose. That's on purpose, right? And so that's really important to know. But like in everyday life with like Uncle John, who you see once a year at Thanksgiving, who's questioning you, like, just make a joke and move on, right, ladies? So I over-answered your question. I know. I just did what I do. Did I even answer her question? I don't think what was her question?
I'm not sure, but you're cute.
What was her question?
It is good.
Okay.
It was about homeschool. The public school saying you're homeschooled.
Oh, yeah, the public school saying, yeah. If you're going to get my goat, that's how to get it. The public school told me my homeschool kid's behind. By the way, homeschoolers, if you want to know the statistics, homeschoolers score 15 to 30% higher than public and private schooled kids on standardized tests. And we're not even teaching to the tests. So if they're making a general statement about homeschoolers, they're just wrong. If they're making an observation about your kid, I would want to know specifically what piece of knowledge that they thought my kid was behind on specifically, because it might be something that I just don't really care about at the moment, right? Because we're doing other things and we have prioritized other things. So in one of my talks on how to give your kids everything they need without overwhelming them or you, I spend the first half of that talk actually boiling down what our kids need, right? Because we have shiny object syndrome. Raise your hand if you guys have that, where it's like you're on social media and you're like, oh, that read aloud, that looks amazing. Ding, add to cart. That curriculum, oh my goodness, free sample. Yes, I'll try it. Ding, add to cart, right? And we're just shiny object where everything looks like it's amazing and we have to do it. And there are amazing resources out there for us. What happens to us as homeschooling moms, if we don't truly ground ourselves knowing and having that confidence that we know exactly what our kid needs from us and academically and in their childhood and in their development, we can really lose our way and get overwhelmed and overwork our kids, get frazzled. And so it's like, okay, well, we want to give our kids everything they need. Well, first let's boil down what they actually do need, right? And then second half of the talk is, all right, well, then let's talk about how to do it and how to get all that in. So, and there are things that our kids need.
Kimberly Baker, we got asked if we homeschool, and the woman said she could tell because our kids were well behaved.
Oh, which platform is Kimberly on?
TikTok.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I mean, I've been asked, and has anyone ever been asked this? Like, oh, your kids are so well behaved. Where do they go to school? Oh, we homeschool. And then the very next question is, how are they going to be socialized? It's just so funny. It's, it's kind of insulting. It's like, you just said my kid was polite and well behaved.
Sensory Mama, also on TikTok, advice on my 7-year-old boy who says any amount of book work is too much. It's about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know why you're laughing. Do you know why I'm laughing?
Me?
Because of our 9-year-old today. We can't relate at all to your comment on the 7-year-old complaining that any book work is too much book work. So yes, resistance, pushback. I would love to, I mean, if things are not that you have to, but if things are really bad, I would love for you to join Thrive so that we can talk and really peel back the layers of this. But resistance is really typical. And I think it's something that we fight for in terms of strategies to mitigate the resistance that we're naturally going to get from our kids. And I do believe in my heart that most everyone can create a homeschool environment where you're not getting the pushback, resistance, and battles every day. Like, unless your kid has, which some do, a diagnosis of some sort that would explain that. For the typical kiddo, you can do things that eliminate that. So it's not what you're going to see on social media, though. And that's why I'd love to see you in Thrive, because it's an onion to peel back. Yeah.
Amanda on IG, my biggest problem is I want to make everything easy for my kid, and I have a hard time creating challenges for them. LOL. I'm a coddler.
Oh, yeah. Is that my Amanda? Not my Amanda. I don't think. Yeah. I totally understand that. Yeah. And look, it's amazing that you're recognizing that. And of course, you see that part of our responsibility as homeschooling parents is to train our kids and teach them how to fail and how to fail beautifully, and to see that failure is not. Let me ask you, are you a perfectionist yourself? I'm just curious. Yeah. So, but teaching our kids how to fail forward is so important. Some great books on teaching kids growth mindset is, of course, Mindset by Carol Dweck. And then we have Grit by Duckworth. Those are two fantastic books that can help you with mindset and help your kiddos with a growth mindset too. Did she say if she was a perfectionist or not? Because I am.
She did not.
Okay. Anybody a perfectionist here?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we're homeschool moms. We're like, fine, I'll do it myself. How hard can it be? The government does it. Jen
says, new innovation idea. Christy comes to your family's Christmas and unleashes on the naysayers.
What would I charge for that? I'm just kidding. I wouldn't charge anything. You'd be, if you saw me in person, you'd be surprised how kind I am, I think. Don't you think people would be surprised at how nurturing and kind I am? Because I'm not that way.
Because you're such a firebrand.
To naysayers. Is that somebody who knows me who said that? What platform was that on?
No, that was Jen. That was a Purple Switch.
Oh. Jen, I think you can do just fine yourself at the family gatherings handling the naysayers. And by the way, I wrote my book to not be offensive to those family naysayers, by the way. This is a book that can be handed to them. In fact, in the introduction, I address them. And I say, you're concerned because you care. I literally put that in my first chapter. So this is absolutely a book that you can also hand to your family members who maybe don't understand why you've chosen this amazing life for your family.
She follows up with, my family of public school teachers
loathe
my homeschooling.
Oh, man. I'm so sorry, Jen. Oh, yeah. I had a neighbor once, Scott's parents' neighbor, who knew, TikTok's about to, let me fix TikTok here. This neighbor, it's about to clock out. Okay, I'm back. Hi, TikTok. this neighbor, she knew that I have been in education for over 20 years. I was a classroom teacher. I ran the learning center. I taught teachers, met with counselors, read IEPs, all the things. She knew that about me, okay? She knew that. When we first started homeschooling, she like clutched her pearls and she's like, but who's going to check up on you, to make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing? And I'm like, it's like, what do you even say? So what I said back then, I wouldn't say now. I think I got a little bit snarky. I said like, well, the government better not. I think I said something like that. I've matured. I saw a quote once. It said, if you're not embarrassed about who you were a year ago, you're not growing enough. And that made me feel better about all of my embarrassing moments in the past. Anybody else embarrassed about who they were a year ago? I look at some of my old social media content and I'm just like, oh my goodness, cringe. I cannot believe I did that.
Well, it's been an hour.
It's been an hour. Any other homeschooling questions? I've loved hanging out with you guys tonight. We've been on all the platforms together. We got TikTok, Instagram. Throw in your question now before I go, because I want to make sure everybody gets the answer that they need. Don't forget to check out, while the questions are coming in, the last questions, don't forget to check out my freebies on my website. I have 8 freebies, you guys. So we have the How to Homeschool Guide. It's a 23-page ebook. We have the 5-minute homeschool style finder. We have a mid-year check-in, and that's a great thing to get right now. And don't forget that I have a download of my free curriculum recommendations. So it's curriculum options that I really like, that are reputable, that would give your kids a great education. So make sure to get those downloads tonight. And then also, if you like what you see when you look at my downloads, and you go to my website and you're like, oh, this girl's pretty cool, maybe she does know what she's talking about, check out Thrive Homeschool Community, because we'd love to see you in there. Go to that webpage to find out more about it. It is robust. It's like starting a master's degree in homeschooling. We have so many Zooms live per month with me and my mentors and other experts. We have master classes. We have supplement drops. We have private groups in there. I mean, it is just the coolest thing that's ever hit homeschooling. I think, in my opinion, it's what I wish I had when I was starting out, and it's really affordable for what you get. So please do check out Thrive Homeschool Community. No pressure. It's either for you or it's not. And it's certainly for me. I love it. And yeah, did we get a question?
Chelsea says, if you can answer this, how do you go about graduating your child?
Yeah, so we actually have office hour. Well, one, we have some master classes on this in Thrive that you can watch. But also we have office hours every month for homeschooling teens. Oh, that was not. See, I just messed with my hair. Remind me not to fiddle with my hair when I'm on things. So, oh, thanks, Jules. So to answer your question, Chelsea, is that a lot of people are under the misconception that we can't graduate our children because we're not accredited, or how do you do a diploma and things like that. Those things are actually really easy to do. And you follow the same path that any other college-bound kiddo would go through for their high school years. You kind of look at the end game and work your way backwards and fulfill the requirements for the colleges. Our kids still take the SAT or ACT. Our kids still have to take the college prerequisites. And you put together your own homeschool transcript. You can buy templates on Pinterest. You can get free ones on the internet. You can pay a lot of money for coaching also, and get templates and buy them. So there's all sorts of options. Homeschooling high school is one of those things where it feels super big and huge and overwhelming. And then once you do it, you're like, oh, this is okay. And it's really just that. We're now planning high school for our teenage son. I believe in, like, when you start out high school, you kind of plan through the 4 years. So you know where you're going, when you have to do things, especially if you're going to be putting in internships and jobs and things like that. You want to know when the summers are going to be available to do that and what classes you have to take when. Also, homeschoolers are known for doing a lot of dual enrollment, where that means that a class that you take in high school can also count as general ed for college, saves a lot of money. And so that's a route that you can also take, and a lot of homeschoolers take that route too. So colleges are now recruiting homeschoolers because they are really great college students. They are self-starters. They are curious. They haven't been conditioned to hate learning. They enjoy it. I said had at first because he's now a college president, but our cousin, when he was in the classroom, he would always say, I can spot the homeschoolers on the first day of class. And he was saying that as a compliment. And so anyway, I thought that could be an encouraging word for you to hear tonight. So.
Oh my gosh, we got two really great questions.
Okay.
So
should I stay for the great questions?
On Instagram, Christy Rose, tips for homeschooling with new baby joining the family, little siblings in general.
Yes. Yeah. I think Kendra went to book club. So when you are homeschooling with an infant, you really got to do that core schooling. And generally speaking, if you have an infant, your oldest ones probably aren't really old, right? They're still like maybe kindergarten, first grade, where their homeschooling is really only about an hour of work per day, I would hope. If not, we can talk. But the reality is that you just kind of fit it in when you can, and make sure that you're focusing on that literacy and the math on those core subjects, and do your best. This is a season that will pass. So don't fret about any behind. Just kind of don't worry about perfection or getting to everything every day. Just be consistent. Just keep being consistent with what you can do, because all of a sudden in 6 months, you're going to look back and you're going to say, oh, wow, we did actually do quite a bit. Give yourself grace. Take it easy. We've all been there homeschooling our kid. My kids have never been in school. I have 4 kids. And so we've all been there. And looking back on that, now that my youngest is 9, I realize I probably fretted way too much back then. Way too much regarding what I was accomplishing in a day. And that season just went by like this. And I know, right? I'm not going to be that old lady that's saying that, these years are precious. The days are long, but the years are short. But I kind of am going to be that old lady telling you that too. In terms of your education, there's your kids' education. As long as you're just focusing on those foundational skills, you're going to be okay. And I want you in a really good literacy program for your kiddo, the one that's older who is learning to read, and a solid, early math program. So, and then otherwise have fun and go outside and do the play dates and count rocks and collect twigs and see what birds are coming back for winter, right? Yeah. Read aloud. If you can't read aloud because you're too exhausted, put it on tape. So put book on tape. Listen in the car. You got it.
And we'll wrap with this.
Okay, we're going to wrap with this last question.
Susie Lee, 24.
Which platform, Susie?
Instagram.
Okay. Was I talking to the wrong platform right there?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Susie.
One tip you would give to your younger self starting homeschool.
One tip I would give to my younger self. You know what one tip I would give to my younger self? I would say, don't worry. You'll get to everything, and you don't need to get to everything right now. You have a lot of years, because I spent my early days of homeschooling constantly feeling behind. At the end of every day, I felt like I didn't accomplish what I wanted to in that day. And at the end of the week, I felt like I didn't accomplish what I wanted to in that week. And I really put myself through the ringer, and I was doing too much. I had too much on the list. And it really stole joy. It stole joy. So, and it's not that I have any lower value on those things. I still love those things. But I wish I would have known that I didn't need to do it all. And to try to do it all was it was kind of going against the whole point of doing it in the first place, because it just became an overload, right? I had the loop schedules. I had the composer study, the poetry study, the read aloud, the art this, the art class, the cello lessons. It was just, I just wish that, and then I had twins, and then I had the baby, and I was trying to homeschool the oldest and doing everything. And then was so exhausted, we'd only get to half of it, and then I'd feel like a failure. And we really did eventually, when I chilled out, I was really insecure, which is hilarious thinking because I'm from education, but I don't think people realize the level of deschooling you have to do coming from education to homeschooling, especially if you're embracing a new pedagogy like I was, because I was coming from the traditional pedagogy to the classical. So there was a lot of insecurity there, and I felt like I had to do these things, and I didn't. And so that's what I would tell myself, my younger self. Yeah, that was a fun question. Yeah. I love you guys so much. We will see you in Thrive Homeschool. Tomorrow is office hours for kiddos with special needs, and in the evening is Working Moms Mastermind Zoom. So we will see you guys tomorrow in Thrive. Okay, love ya. Mwah, mwah, mwah. All the platforms. Mwah, mwah.